problem that I really have right now in this country is our division. And it's not getting any better. We are such a divided country. And we have this idea you're either on the right or you're on the left, and you got to think this way or that way, and you like this person or that person. And if you don't believe exactly what I believe, well, I don't like you. I want nothing to do with you. I don't care if you believe in 99.9% of the things I do, that 0.01% of things you don't agree with. Well, you know what? Get away. You're not worthy of my conversation anymore. I hate that attitude. I hate that attitude on both sides, or, oh, you're just overeducated, you're just an elitist. I hate that argument. Ugh. Everybody has a point of view, everybody has an opinion, and everybody has the right to be wrong. Oh, God, I learned that this year. Everybody has the right to be wrong. It's your right to be wrong. I've been wrong several times. Several times I've been wrong. Several times I find out new information, you assess what you used to learn, you realize you were wrong, right? And in politics, it's hard to be right or wrong. You have to be right to whatever team you believe with right, or whatever sides they're right, to their right or the left, whatever. I'm not referring to the right, I'm saying either side. You have to believe exactly what they believe in. Independent thinkers are shunned. People that talk about uncomfortable topics are shunned in society today. And it's got to be divisive or nothing. I used to hear this term a friend of mine told me, is like, if it bleeds, it leads. That's what we said, the newspaper words. So if it was all about blood and gore and violence and shooting and death and war, it led. If it was about good things that happened or, actually wanting to change this world in a positive manner, no one cares, right? So, our media is supposedly divided to the right and the left, and I kind of think it is, but really what our media is divided by are advertisers, and advertisers say what goes on the media you're watching. So if you want to know who's controlling your narrative, pay attention to the advertisements that are on your news sources. That's probably who is controlling your narrative. And if it's something benign that has nothing to do with politics, well, they're probably just funding that source. That's probably it. They're probably not pulling the shots for that source like a lot of advertisement does. Advertisement says, hey, you know what? If you say this word, or this topic or that topic, we're not going to fund you anymore. So I worry about the future of media because we have a split right and left media. Now online, you have podcasters talking about things. I'm trying my best to be agnostic from politics if I can, and I'm trying to look at it through the lens of we're all in the same boat together. And yeah, we have different points of views, but we are all on this same boat together. And we got to figure out a way to figure things out and come together and talk about stuff. And I don't want that. And I say I don't think either side wants that, to be honest with you, because if people are coming together and start agreeing on things, well, that means you don't have a strong, the boogeyman, that other person over there is bad. They are so different than me. Polar opposite. You got to vote for me. Me, 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 me. I don't believe that we need that this political system this division is working. I don't believe it's working whatsoever. And I think we have way more in common than what separates us. That's the other thing. We have so much in common. We all absorb the same television shows for the most part, the same radio programs, the same podcast, the same music, the same food, because our food is homogenized. We barely eat at like local places anymore. It's either you're eating, McDonald's, you're eating Doritos, you're drinking Pepsi, drinking Coke, whatever. And we've lost our civility is the thing that disturbs me intensely. That we're no longer civil with each other. Especially in politics. I've always dreamt of this world where I wanted to have a show called Coffee. Not Coffee. It was called Common Grounds, where we come together and have coffee, like ground coffee, and come to a common conclusion on something. Because there's got to be some common ground somewhere on something in the world, right? With all the problems we're having today in the world and that we are right and left, there is a conclusion and there is a solution, but they don't want a solution, I don't feel. Solutions don't get you elected, right? It doesn't seem to be. But if you can keep that boogeyman mentality and that other person's bad, other person over on the other side's bad, that's what scares people to vote. When things are good, people don't care about voting anymore. When things are bad and when they're riled up, that's when people go to the polls. That's when people vote, right? But if things are good, they don't want to vote. So as politicians, your first line of reality should be to unite the country in any way possible and do good for us all, not just one side, not just the other. So I'm just disappointed with the discourse in this country, with people yelling at each other. I don't know. I have friends that are very far on the left and very far on the right. People that consider themselves in the middle, people consider themselves non-political, people, just all over the place. And I find a lot of commonality in all of us. And there's a lot of things we don't agree with across the board, a lot of things we agree with across the board. So why can't we have more of that? Sitting down and discussing topics with people you don't agree with. And maybe you'll find that, and I got back to the early, when you find out new information, you learn something new, maybe you'll realize you were wrong, right? Maybe the information that you were given was incorrect. That's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, Who knows what our opinions are based off of the articles we read, and we're trusting these experts, so to speak, that are giving them to us, which that's what I grew up listening to and trusting certain journalists and news programs. And then I realized through time that they see things through a lens. I'm not saying they're lying or telling the truths or inaccuracies. They see things through a lens, and they're putting a narrative that they believe in out there to the world. And you're reading this, and then another person is reading the exact same type of narrative, but from a different point of view. And then those two people that read those topics separately come together and start arguing with each other about the stuff they read about that they really don't know about and understand about because they never took the time to fully understand the topic. They just had somebody else surmise it for them and a politician. So, with AI, maybe AI will be better for us when you can ask AI a question and it'll actually surmise an answer, not a political answer. Wouldn't that be great if you get a true answer, not a political jargon answer that comes from the right spin or the left spin that pushes their agendas or their political funders or their advertisers, if you want to say it, whatever you want to call it. So, there's ways to change it, I guess, but will it change? I don't know. Go out and talk to people if you're a politician. Go out and get on podcasts. Go out and talk to people you don't agree with, right? Tell them your point of view. If you stand on principles, put your principles out there and they can judge you based off of your principles, right? Is it that hard? Is it that hard to lay out your principles, have someone scrutinize you on this principle in a friendly way, ask you questions about them, right? Which podcasting does, and then lay them out to the world and let the world decide what you believe in or what you don't believe in. What sucks is when the media paints a narrative of someone and then you think through the lens of that narrative that they've painted and you've never actually listened to the person that they've painted the picture on. That's something that gets me and it's everywhere in media, right? They'll paint this illusion of a person you read about, right? And you read all these horrible stories about this person, blah, 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 they're this. And it can be, if you're on the left, it could be horrible stories about, I don't know, Trump and J.D. Vance. If you're on the right, it could be stories about Nancy Pelosi or whatever and how bad they are. But who's painting those pictures, right? And then have you ever went and listened to what those people said, listened to them on podcasts and listened to interviews, or maybe they don't give interviews, which they should be doing. So I think that maybe you need to stop looking at it through the lens of somebody else's view, right? And take your point of view on it. I'm not saying it's going to make you change your politics overnight or change things, but it's going to make you see that both sides kind of have an agenda. They do. And they both tell a narrative, and you need to see through what other people filter it and look at what the narrative is and make your own decision on it. And this isn't a classic, do your research, go research. No. I'm kind of saying that, do your research a little bit, but if nothing else, listen to both points of view. If you specifically love, I don't know, whatever news source, put on the other one you think's opposing and listen to both of them. If one makes you angry, that's fine. One makes you happy, that's fine. But listen to both and see where their points are coming from, because it's a true way to get an opinion is to listen to both points of view. And listen to interviews with people you don't agree with, because there are long-form interviews with a lot of people out there where they're 2-3 hours, and you can really get to understand that person's character that 2 to 3 hours. Sound bites on news is no way to get your media. 5 minutes of two people yelling at each other, trying to get a gotcha moment so they can put that on social media and play it a million times is not the way to get your news. No. News basically has become an entertainment, basically. When it came down to many years ago, we didn't have 24/7 news. We had 6 p.m., I think it was 6:30 something. It was in the evening. We all sat around the dinner table, at least in my family did, and we ate and we watched the news. Well, they don't do that anymore, right? Now the news cycle is 24/7 because they realized they can make money off of it. 60 Minutes supposedly was the first one to realize, oh, 60 Minutes, make money off of this. It all became a money maker, right? It's all about money. It's like a drug. Media is a drug, and you just like the drug they give you, right? And you go back to that drug dealer, that media dealer all the time to get your hit of that drug that gives you dopamine that makes you feel good. That's all this media is. So you'll sit and watch their advertisements and buy their products. It's a pretty simple game. It really is. I mean, the big boogeyman in the world, the big scary thing out there that's going to get you is advertisements. They want you to buy things. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Right and left has a lot of that into it, and advertisements are funding that because, I don't know, watch your media, see who's funding that media, see where the ads are rolling in from. That's probably what the point of view is they want. I don't know. Check it out for yourself. See what you see. But please, on the right and left, get it together. Start working for each other. Left, in my opinion, is lost right now. The Democratic Party's lost. Republican Party, well, at least the lead from the Republican Party, Donald Trump is talking about mean and nasty people on the Democrats, and that's no way to talk to half your nation. I'm not judging the man, but we should talk to each other, please. Calling someone mean and nasty and deranged, be the bigger person. Just because someone called you that doesn't mean you have to call them that back, right? Be the bigger person. You look better in history. Don't have a vendetta. Don't go after people just because you had your feelings hurt. Please, just be the bigger person and let it go. Don't every post at every holiday talk about the other side and how evil they are and how bad they are. They're not that bad. They're not that, they're not horrible people like you paint them to be. And stop that. Please come together. Democratic Party, find leadership. Unite. Have a message. And we know that the best way to get into Trump's world is to go talk with him. Oh, God forbid, you're talking to the enemy. The man's vain. His name is Trump. It's on a tower. He wants to be treated like a certain way. So you have to go in and say, hey, Mr. Trump, you're looking beautiful today. I love your hair. I love your skin tone, that glow. And maybe he'll give you an interview, and maybe he'll talk to you, and maybe you can sway his point of view, right? Maybe you can. Vanity goes a long way with that, man. He loves his hair. He loves his style. He loves his do, right? He's a sharp-looking MFer. And I say MFer in the greatest way, not a bad way. He's sharp, right? So go commend him. Say, hey, you're great. Get in there. Talk to him. Start a conversation with people you don't like, Don't just yell at somebody and call them nasty things right off the bat. You get caught up in this politics. You get caught up in this hate and this fear. And then you get caught in an echo chamber. And all you do is talk to people just like you. Because they're all on your social media channels. They're all following you. And they're just talking to you. You're not talking to anybody else. You're not swaying anybody's opinion by saying nasty things online to each other, to what you think is going to take a change. It's not. Let's talk to each other in a kind way. Would you want to be called something negative right at the bat? Treat people like you want to be treated. Isn't that the old rule? Well, this is a different world. Times are bad. Oh, no. We need to know. And if you look at the other side as the enemy, no matter what side you're on, right? Professional sports players watch reels, right? They watch their other teams so they can understand the weaknesses in their team so they can beat them. You tell me you don't want to communicate with people and understand them so you can win the game, then you don't play that game very well. You're a horrible game player. You're never going to win until you understand the other side, until you go meet the other side and talk to the other side. You're never going to truly win this game. And you know what? Who loses? Who loses is us in this country. That's what gets me the most. We, America, loses when you play this game for power. We lose. You win. You keep the power going. Stop being so mean and nasty in politics. Stop being so right and left in politics. Let's be Americans. Let's look at each other as as people, as humans. Let's look at each other. Let's look at people across the world for that, man. Just Americans. Let's look at everybody as humans. Let's try our best. Oh, you live in a fairy tale world. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that I think every idea in politics is bad. I'm not saying anything about policy here. None of that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the narrative. What we're talking about. This is division. Divide us apart. We'll kill each other while they watch and laugh at us. They don't care about you and us. They just want us at each other's throats so they can retain power. Prove me wrong. I might not be the best to put this out there. I'm a nobody. I don't know anything, but I'm willing to admit that I know nothing. And I'm willing to admit that I could be wrong on something. And you know what? Most people won't. They'll never admit they're wrong, right? Well, I am. And I'm willing to ask questions, and I'm willing to take answers from people and take questions from people as well. Maybe you think I'm full of it. I don't know what I'm talking about. Blah, 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 blah. That's fine. That's great. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Never claimed to. But what I do claim to know is people get along better when they talk to each other. How many times I don't know, you see somebody, I don't like the way they look. And then once you get to meet them, like they're great people, Some people, you don't like them, you never were going to like them. That's fine. But at least you know why you don't like them and you stay away from them. Or you respect them. Maybe it's your neighbor across the street, you don't like them, but you respect them, right? Learn respect. Learn to respect each other even if you don't agree with them on every topic in the world. And until we get along and help change the narrative in this country, we're never going to fix anybody else's problems until we can fix our own damn problems. So, I know we're a global community and this is all about we got to save so many things in the world, and I'm all for helping people in the world. But until we can fix our own problems here and we can learn to have civil conversations with each other, we can't go tell other people how to think. We can't go spread American democracy like it's a tub of whoop ass across the country. You can't do that until you can control the narrative. Not control, but until you have a good narrative in this country. Until we talk to each other. Talk. Have a conversation with your friends that you used to talk you don't like anymore because they believe politically different than you. Talk with them. Find your commonality. When we unite, we win, right? When we unite, we make this world better. When we unite, we stand, right? United we stand, divided we fall. Wow. A lot of people, politicians, want us divided. Maybe they want us to fall. Maybe we should vote them out. Either you're going to be a uniter or a divider. And if you're going to be a divider, you need to get out. Thank you for watching this episode of Blue Reads World.